Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of At the Movies with William Fletcher. As per usual, I am your host, William Fletcher, and this week I am joined by Mr. Barney Metcalf.
It's me again. Ooh.
And Harry is unfortunately not able to join us this week, but that's
Busy fighting.
okay. He has. So this is the review of the year, part 2. Listen to. I mean, you don't have to. If the films we covered last week don't interest you, then you don't have to listen to it. But you should listen to this one. And since Harry's unable to join us, he has instead sent through brief reviews on the films we're going to be covering. Well, the ones he's seen.
Polite
anyway.
young man here.
So Barney and we will talk about them for a bit, and then we'll give our ratings, and I'll read Harry's reviews, and then we will. Yeah, that's how this whole thing is going to be structured. So we're gonna just jump right into it. We did a 3-part retrospective looking at the entire career of Christopher Nolan in anticipation of Oppenheimer, and we're going to talk about Oppenheimer now, and also Barbie and the whole Barbenheimer. I was going to say movement. I don't know if it's technically a movement, but it's the whole Barbenheimer. So when these movies were announced, I was not that interested, to be honest, because Christopher Nolan had been letting me down since 2010. So it's like, I was like, nah. And I don't love Greta Gerwig as a filmmaker. Like, I'm just gonna be completely honest. I'm not the biggest Greta Gerwig fan. These films were announced coming out the same day, and I was just sort of like, well, I mean, I'll see them. I'll commit to it. I'll see these movies on the same day. For a long period of time, I was genuinely like, I don't really care. I was like, yeah, they're gonna be. I was like, yeah, they'll be alright. And I remember sort of leading up to their release. I don't know, something happened, and I was sort of more interested. Like, sort of as we were getting closer to the release day, I'm like, oh, this is like, I don't know what it was, but it was like, okay, I'm more. And sort of like a couple of days before, I'm like, no, I actually think like because this is seen as more of a celebration of cinema. Like, this is not really seen as like, because I've been talking to people for a while, and they'd sort of been like treating it almost as like it was like a competition between the two films. Like, oh, I'm gonna, and people were like, oh, I'm gonna pay to see Barbie, and then I'll sneak into a screening of Oppenheimer, and I'm like, fucking, why would you do that? So yeah, I saw this opening day. I went with a friend. We dressed in suits because
you're classy.
Yeah, I didn't see Minions: The Rise of Gru, so yes. So yeah, I saw Oppenheimer, and I thought it was very, very good. Probably my favorite Nolan film since Inception. So 13
I was
years.
gonna say, like, favorite Nolan film. Gee, that's high praise.
But it's not like the best. Look, it's not as good as everyone says. I want to make that clear. I think it's a very good film, but it's not.
I remember you were a very big fan when it first came out.
Yeah, I was, and I've sort of, the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, okay, I've adjusted my rating, but not by like that much. I'm just sort of like, it's not that, but I still think it's very good. I still think it's one of the best of the year. I think I preferred it to Barbie, maybe because I'm a sexist, possibly. Sorry, but I think and to be honest, I mean, first of all, it's 3 hours long. Can we not though? Like, I found it fairly engaging, but also I was like, do we need it to be that long? Like, do we need a 3-hour film? Like, I don't know. I just felt sort of like, yeah, I didn't need all of it,
Yeah, no, so lay on my thoughts on the film. I like the film. I think it's good. There are chunks of it that I love, but there are also other bits where I just kind of started to zone out a bit. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. He's staring, and we're seeing science happen.
Yeah, because I've thought about it, and I think honestly, I know a lot of people complain about Nolan and the female characters, and this film they really felt very underserved. And I don't it
Yeah.
doesn't. I mean, look, Florence Pugh I think is a great talent, but she's not the like I didn't really see the point in her character, to be honest. I kind of felt like
I mean, I can't really think what she adds to the film. I'd say
yeah,
Emily Blunt's also quite a good actress, but again, I didn't think I was. Actually, no, I did
yeah.
quite enjoy her.
I
But
thought Emily Blunt was okay, but I remember going into the film and there'd be like, because some people had already seen it, and there was like Oscar buzz around Emily Blunt, and I was like, and I went in with that
oh,
expectation, and then she's barely in the film, and I was like, huh, what movie did I watch? Because we clearly saw different movies. If Emily Blunt is being considered like an Oscars favorite. On the flip side, Cillian Murphy I thought was phenomenal in it. I think Cillian Murphy's a great talent.
yeah, no, Eddie Murphy was really good.
I think he gives. I'm not going to say my favorite performance of the year, but it's very very close. Robert Downey Jr. was also quite good in
Yeah,
it.
it's very good. Yeah.
I mean, Robert Downey Jr. has always been like a great actor, but doing Marvel
He's just kind
for
of stuck doing Iron Man for years.
yeah, and I mean he's great in that part. I think he's great in those films, but it's nice to see him sort of do something a bit different after doing sort of the same thing for 10 years. You know who I thought was actually not very good in the film at all, though? Benny Safdie as the Russian.
Oh yeah, he is
Like,
in this.
I think Benny Safdie's a really bad actor. He should just stick to making films because he can't act like at all. But to be honest, most of the cast didn't do like because I remember going into the film like, oh, Matt Damon's in it. He's got a part. He's got one of the bigger parts in it. Jack Quaid in it as Richard Feynman.
I was gonna say, this film's just full of random people. That I'm like, oh, you're here.
This, yeah, I
You got Josh,
remember.
Drake and Josh. You got
Yeah, Drake and yeah, we got
young
yeah
Han
Drake and
Solo,
yeah we got young Han
Freddie
Solo.
Mercury.
We've got Kenneth Branagh as
Okay.
Niels Bohr. Who is he? The one
Polka
that
He's
Oppenheimer
his
nearly
professor at the
poisons at the
start that he
beginning.
almost poisoned. Yeah,
Yeah, and like that's a bit.
doing a weird
That's
accent as he
that's like
usually
a
does.
farcical comedy bit in like this serious drama about the atomic bomb.
It
But
was
yeah,
a
you had
weird bit. I guess it's something
there was a,
about I don't know. He's gonna kill one man then, but he chooses not to, and then he creates the bomb that kills millions. Ooh.
yeah. There was the son from Hereditary. He was in it. Yeah, just lots of famous people. Just lots
Random
of.
people.
Rami
Um,
Malek was in it
yeah, I
as
said Freddie
well.
Mercury earlier.
Yeah, you've cut a bit,
Um,
but I didn't. But yeah, it's
I,
it's
I s- yeah, I
crazy.
said Freddie Mercury earlier. The Green Goblin from the Amazing Spider-Man 2, he pops up.
Yeah, he's in it. There's so many names. Yeah, Polka Dot
Oh,
Man, as you mentioned before. Casey Affleck, the problematic.
yeah.
Well, yes, he's pretty. I literally don't remember who the fuck he was though. Like I know he's in it. I just
Oh, do
literally
I?
cannot remember which character he was. Gary Oldman was in it as I
Yeah,
seriously I
he's
completely
Harry
forgot Gary
Truman.
Oldman. Harry
Yeah.
Truman, like it's just crazy. Honestly, the best stuff of the film was like the build up to the bomb going off, and then everything that sort of followed that. Like that was like the best stuff. I
There were
think.
kind of three bits that I'd point to as being my highlights of the film in terms of
Mhm.
scenes. So yeah, the bomb testing scene, I thought that was a really well directed and well built piece of tension. Even though I knew that they obviously weren't all going to explode there, but I was still getting into it. The bit where he gives that speech in front of those people and they're all stamping their feet, and he's been like, "Oh no," he's having flashes of Hiroshima, and that I thought that was a really good bit. And then the ending, but I'll get to that later.
Just the build up to the like I because I remember when I immediately came out of the film, my rating was like flip flopping between two numbers, and I think the more I've thought about it, I have bumped it down just like a little bit, but because I think there was a I don't know if it was like I think it was like a script or something came out, and the way Nolan read the script, I think it's
It's
in
written
like
first person.
Yeah, and there's I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a bit where it's when Cillian Murphy and Florence Pugh are together, and it just says "We are fucking." Like, that's a really, and I'm like, this is that's like
How I am
that's
some death, fucker of Florence
that's
Pugh.
really really weird. I also I remember beforehand I had seen that it said there was like full frontal nudity, and I was like, oh, I know what that means. And then we don't see anything of Cillian Murphy, and I'm like, well, what the fuck? Why? Why would you? I was
Christopher Nolan
expecting
have the male gaze.
exactly, and I. This is probably the most egregious example of Nolan writing appallingly bad female characters. I wouldn't say appallingly bad; they're not
They're weak.
good.
They're weak.
They are by Nolan standards, they are not like. But to be honest, I think most of the cast, I think it's really just Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. who are like actually the great performances. Everyone else is just kind of like, yeah, you know.
You showed up. You did the job. Well done.
But yeah, from everything sort of after the atomic bomb went off, I was like, that's the sort of the really good stuff. And that's when Robert Downey Jr. was like really good, because I remember people were going on how great he was, and I remember I watched it, and again for a lot of the movie, I was like, where is this great Robert Downey Jr. performance? And then it's sort of in the last, not third, but the last, however
It's pretty
long the
much the
movie
last.
the last act. It's like, oh, that's the good
Yeah.
performance. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it's too long. So it's 3 hours. I just
Yeah, no, Robert Downey Jr. got me through that last hour because I was starting to be like, okay, I'm getting tired now.
yeah,
And then he brought me back in.
I mean, I didn't need all of it, but I wasn't bored either. I was like, okay, this is still good. This is still engaging, but it's like at a
I was very happy
certain
to
point,
watch it, but I was aware that time was moving very slowly.
yeah. And I'll watch it again because it's one of Nolan's better films in my opinion. But I think it's not a film I can like. I could probably just watch Prestige on a whim, you know, or The Dark Knight. You know, I could just pop those on and watch them. Oppenheimer is that kind of thing where it's like I need to be in
I need
the
to
right
mark this in my
headspace.
diary as a day that I'll watch it.
I mean, this is going to be up at the Oscars, so we'll almost
Yeah.
certainly talk about this again at that point.
I feel like you're leaning into moving on here, but there's one more thing I want to mention.
Yeah.
Music.
Oh, I thought it was I have to re-listen to the score, but I remember immediately coming out of it and thinking that was a really good score, and I'm kind of glad Hans Zimmer wasn't doing it because I feel like it would just be the Hans Zimmer
Yeah.
thing, and I
It was
love Hans Zimmer.
Ludwig Göransson, is that who did it? Yeah.
Yeah, Ludwig Göransson, and I don't get me
The
wrong,
music.
I love Hans Zimmer, but like I think just would have done the same thing again, and I'm glad Ludwig Göransson came in and did something different. This is just from my memory of seeing it. I can't like necessarily say, "Oh, this was a great piece of music." I'd have to listen to it all again, but that's just how I felt coming out of
The
it.
one that's kind of doing the rounds the most is that "Can You Hear the Music" one, which I think is probably my favorite bit of soundtrack from the year.
So I give it a very, very strong 8. And I initially had it as a very weak 9, but the more I've thought about it, I'm just sort of like, it's not quite that good. And it could go back up to a 9 on a rewatch, but it's like I have to sort of. But I still think it's a very great film. I mean, I'll go through my top 10 at the end of this. It's one of the best films of the year for me. So yeah, I give it a very strong 8 out of 10.
I gave it a very solid 7 out of 10.
Where
That's a
does that
positive
put
review.
it? No, that's a positive. Yeah. Well, Harry's about to offset that. Where would it sit, by the way, just before I read Harry's quick review? Where does it sit in Nolan's career for you comparatively to his other films?
I mean, this is going to seem very harsh because there is some stuff here that I think I need to reevaluate because I've not seen him in a while, but it's fifth from bottom. There are 4 that I think are weak.
Here is Harold's review of this film. Oppenheimer. My film of the year. One of the best cinema experiences I have ever had. I had the opportunity to see this film in IMAX, and brilliant would be an understatement. From the incredible cinematography to the perfect score, not to be outdone by the performances from the leads, even down to Josh Peck for some reason. This film
Yeah,
hits the lead up
Josh from
the already
Josh, baby.
the already classic lines in the memes that came from this film. The pacing was near perfect. Brackets. I love Matt Damon. Close brackets. Any film 3 hours long is fatiguing, but I felt the tension in this film and thought it used its time well. Realistically, this isn't Nolan's greatest, but not far from it. 9.5 out of 10.
Crikey,
Very
Harrison.
high. Very high praise for
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. I didn't do an episode, but I do want to talk about this film, Barbie, because I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought Barbie was like actually pretty damn good.
I had a fucking riot at Barbie.
Yeah, I saw this, packed screening. Like every seat basically was full. Same with Oppenheimer, but it was like a smaller screening. Like there were less chairs in there. Barbie was just like, well, also because I think my Oppenheimer screening was like it wasn't like regular showing. It was like a bigger screen and everything. And so, but yeah, I went in, saw Barbie, and I went in like, you know what, at worst, this film is okay. And I came out and I was like, I think I loved it. I think there's a lot about it that I really, really liked. I don't think it's as good as everyone says it is. I think it's definitely overrated. Like, don't get me wrong. However, I thought it was very good though. Like, I thought it was. I think it's Greta Gerwig's best film.
Out of curiosity, what did you see first, Oppenheimer or Barbie?
I saw Oppenheimer first, and that was more just so I could make the times work. Because if I did it the other way around, I'd be seeing Barbie at 10 o'clock, and then I have to wait like a couple hours before I could see Oppenheimer. And I'm like, no. Like, literally, Oppenheimer ended just as, like, Barbie was about to start. It was, like literally, there was, like, a 5-minute gap. But literally, like, the screens were, like, across from each other. Like, I could walk out of Oppenheimer and walk straight into the door to Barbie, so it wasn't that big a deal.
I saw Oppenheimer first because I wanted to.
Yeah.
If I saw it second, I'd probably already see one film first, and then I need to sit down and watch an even longer film.
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
I'd give it a bit more benefit by having it first.
Yeah, because I remember when it came out, a lot of people were like, "Oh, what are you going to see first, Barbie or Oppenheimer?" And I'm just like, I mean, whichever one, like, however it works best. Because I also didn't really have a preference of which one I saw first. I know some people are like, "Oh, I want to see Barbie first, and then I'll watch Oppenheimer." But I'm just like, this doesn't bother me. This isn't like a thing that I was particularly bothered about. But yeah, I saw Barbie packed screening, probably the most packed I've ever seen. And I remember when I came into the cinema because it was in I guess it's a mall. It was like several levels, and I remember I went in. So me and my friend, we came in. We were dressed in suits. We came to the top to the cinema to like collect our tickets, and there were just people in like pink hats and like people were dressed up and everything. And some of them, they came into Oppenheimer and like, oh well, they're gonna see Barbie after this. They've got the same plan as us.
I saw it with a group of friends, and we had a fucking blast.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like, I think the whole Barbenheimer thing, I think really was because there hasn't really been like a thing like that. Like Barbenheimer was an organic sort of event.
Yeah.
Trying to force another one is just like, it's fucking bullshit. It sucks. I think it's a contender for funniest film of the year. Like, I was surprised.
I think it absolutely is for me. I think it is definitely the film. It's definitely the film I've laughed at most in the cinema this year.
Yeah, like there were definitely, because you haven't seen Poor Things yet, which I would argue is funnier.
Is that going to be funny? Okay, I don't know.
Okay,
wasn't expecting.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. It's a comedy. Yeah, it's obviously Ryan Gosling. Like, I mean, maybe I should probably start with Margot Robbie, but I remember beforehand, though, everybody was going on about how great Ryan Gosling was, more than Margot Robbie, which is very ironic that Ryan Gosling is the one that people were praising to, the heavens as being great.
Because Margot Robbie's kind of doing two things. She's playing that kind of, Barbie character, and then she's doing a bit more humane stuff, whereas Ryan Gosling just gets to Ken his way through the whole film and just be ridiculous.
And I thought he was phenomenal. I thought he was great.
He's one of my favorite performances.
Favorite Gosling performance, just in general. I think I can't, and I've seen Gosling in quite a few things, but I think it's probably his best work as an actor. It just was like, because comedy is like. Yeah, because comedy to me is like, I always appreciate a good comedic performance or good comedic writing, and I think he really brought that energy.
He understood
that was
what he was
needed.
doing.
Yeah, and he never went too far though. I felt like he played it all at the right level, and I think that was because I feel like in the hands of a different actor, it wouldn't have been nearly as good. But yeah, I thought he was great, and Margot Robbie. I think Margot Robbie's a great talent as well. I think she was very good. Not quite as good, but again, I thought she was very good. In fact, I thought the whole ensemble was very good. Like Michael Cera, you can never go wrong with Michael Cera.
Yeah, Michael. I mean, he's been doing the same thing for years, but I love it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, he's doing the Michael Cera thing, but it's like he's fucking good at it. So I'm fine with him doing that.
I just think it's funny that we're seeing him doing the same thing that he's been doing since he was a teenager playing George Michael,
Will Ferrell, again, I think Will Ferrell's a very great comedic talent. I thought he was very good in this. How did you feel about America Ferrera?
Didn't care for
him. No, nor did I. And
I've seen people like, "Oh, she was great," and I was like, "Was she? She was good," but
yeah, she is a lot of people are like predicting her to get Oscar nominated, which I think would be a bit like again, it just supports my theory that supporting actress is a dog shit category every year. Well, most years, because if she's one of the top 5, if that's what the Oscars consider one of the 5 best supporting female performances of the year, they really need to write more supporting female parts. They need to write more of those. They need to write better ones. One of my this film got a lot of hate because of the wokeness, in quotations, from the incels, the how the film is hating men, when like it's clearly not. Like if you actually watch the film, it's really not. Like it's not actually that. And I will say that the scene where America Ferrera has her like speech, I was like, okay, you kind like, it felt a bit ham-fisted and didn't work quite as well as sort of the other elements. I felt it felt a bit too
it gets a bit, I don't want to say preachy, but it definitely isn't subtle, but I can go. Like,
it didn't ruin the film.
I see the point they're making. Fine.
Yeah, it just felt like just a bit too shoved down your throat, but not. Which isn't like, I get the point they're making.
Nothing in this film is subtle. Come on.
No, but I felt like but my point sort of more is, I think there was a better way they could have done that. Is the point I want to make? Is like, I think they could have written that better, personally. And also, I didn't think every joke was funny, and the ending was a bit like, I was a bit like, okay, I don't, because it's like a joke. They end on a joke, but I'm like, I didn't find it that funny, and I didn't think it was like, look, the jokes that I loved were great, but it definitely wasn't like, there were a few that I was like, okay, but like, for the most part, I thought it was very funny. But it just wasn't like some jokes didn't quite land. Most of the big ones landed. Like all of Ryan Gosling's jokes, they all were excellent. You know who else is in this film? Two Sex Education alum and Taskmaster alum as well. 3? The 3 from...
Yeah, so there's Emma Mackey and Ncuti Gatwa.
Ncuti Gatwa. Yeah.
And Connor Swindells.
I don't know who that one.
He's like the intern guy with Will Ferrell.
Right. And there's also Asim Chowdhury from Taskmaster.
Yeah, who just shows up in the what's it called?
Asim Chowdhury is just like becoming a thing now. Like, he just appears in shit for some
reason. I don't think anyone in America who doesn't watch Taskmaster will know who he is, but he just shows up in Hollywood films at the moment.
He's
it's weird.
Like, he was in Guardians 3, wasn't it? He was the
he was the walrus in that. He was in Wonder Woman 1984.
I'd have. I mean, that was way before I knew who he was. But I'm just looking at what else he was in. He was inside Number Nine. He was
Yeah.
in People Just Do Nothing, Big in Japan. Like all
Yeah,
sort
the
of.
Sandman he pops up in.
In terms of a technical, like the production design, the costumes, and this is like they really did bring the world of Barbie to life. It's great to see practical sets. Also, the songs actually, there's like a whole fucking soundtrack. There's like a ton of different songs from there's the Billie Eilish, there's the Dua Lipa, uh, Gosling gets a song in there. There's Lizzo before she got cancelled. There's Sam Smith. Others who there's other songs that from artists that I can't remember. I thought some of the songs were quite good, and some were just like. I thought
The only
there
ones I
were.
remember are I'm Just Ken and that Billie Eilish one.
Yeah, I think I'm Just Ken is like a legitimately good song. Like it's actually like much better than I feel like it
Anything
has
about
any
this
right
film
to be.
deserves an Oscar. It's this.
Yeah, this is this. I know a lot of people prefer the Billie Eilish song, which is good. Like it's good, but
Yeah,
it's honestly,
I
I think it's I definitely preferred I'm Just Ken, and I think I preferred the Dua Lipa song as well. Actually,
don't remember what her
um,
one was.
hers was the one that plays when they've got like the big dance party, and Margot was like, "Does anybody ever
Oh
think
yeah,
about
yeah.
death?" Yeah, I really liked Barbie, and I
So
think
do I.
it's yeah, I think it's Greta Gerwig's best film. I
Yeah,
don't know if Noah Baumbach being a writer is part of it, to be honest. He
I
didn't
don't
write
know.
her other films, so maybe that's what it is. But I did really like Little Women, to be fair. Also, Helen Mirren as well, actually, is in this film as
Yeah,
well. Completely forgot about Helen Mirren. So there's that bit where she's like, they're making, I forget what the joke is, but she's like, like Barbie is like, oh, I'm not that attractive. But I'm like, yeah, if you want to make this joke, you probably shouldn't cast Margot Robbie at
probably
this part. I'm
shouldn't
like,
cast Margot Robbie.
and I'm like, see, that's a good joke. That's the kind of like
Hmm.
fourth wall breaking joke that I like. But yeah, I give Barbie an 8, a very sturdy 8 out of 10. I think it's far better than it had any right to be.
Yeah, no, I will echo that. I give it a very strong 8.
And Harry has seen it as well, so I'm just going to quickly read through his thoughts. Honestly, a pretty fun watch. I feel as if it tries to balance fun with serious, and at some points in the film, it doesn't really work. The cast is great. Margot Robbie is brilliant as always, and Ryan Gosling is hilarious in this role. In brackets, literally me. America Ferrera was a standout for me. It's a shame he's not here, so we could
Yeah, I'd like
ask
to
him
hear
about
him
this
play that corner.
because I wasn't. Yeah, she was great, and I love that it wasn't 3 hours long. I do appreciate that this film was not fucking 3 hours unnecessarily. It was like less than 2 hours. I feel like Mattel knew what they were doing, though, even though they poked fun at themselves. They saw the profit this would bring. It's hard for me to really connect with the message from a film if it's coming from a big corporation like Mattel. Anyway, Michael Cera was good and it was fun. Also, what's the deal with the car ad? Like just in the middle of the film, 7 out of 10. And moving on with the Meg 2, The Trench. So I'm just going to quickly go.
The positivity of the previous two films is really going to carry on here, right?
I know you've seen the first one.
Yeah, I saw it around the time it came out, shortly afterwards, I think.
And I take it you're not a big fan.
Not really. Um, I don't really hate the film, but I don't like it. It's very, middling. It's just kind of, big
Mm.
shark nonsense. It's watchable, but it's not particularly good.
I didn't love it either, but Harry really hated it. But yeah, the Meg 2, The Trench, I think is better. I don't think it's a great film, by the
It's not
way.
about maybe that you're wrong.
No, I'm never wrong, mate. Look, I don't think this film. I think this film is very much aware of how stupid it is, and I think it's embracing that. And it's just
I disagree. I don't think this film is self-aware at all. No, I think
really.
it's trying to play an incredibly straight bat, and it's just being any other stupid action film. But it's not like, if you want a self-aware, ridiculous Statham film, you go for something like Crank. But this is
No, I just thought it was like I had fun with it. Like I know it's not great, but I did have. But like when the sharks well, the megalodons are appearing. I thought it's fun, like just these. I mean, you're not a big fan of Godzilla King of the Monsters, are you?
No, because it's crap.
Yeah, see, you're wrong about that because Godzilla's King of the Monsters is a fucking blast. Because there's monsters fighting for 2 hours and it's fucking great.
That's interesting, is it?
I mean, I thought so. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't.
he's
I'm
fighting a monster. Now we'll go somewhere else. He's fighting a monster here, like that. Might as well
Yeah.
watch boxing.
No, that's not fair at all. It's not. They don't have special powers in boxing. It's just two shirtless pricks punching each other. With like Godzilla and shit, you get like they can shoot fucking fire and shit at each other. That's cool. That's interesting. You know, I don't.
Ooh, wow. Getting really excited about fire, like a caveman. Jeez. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the Meg. Oh, it's a fish, but it's a big fish.
Yeah, and there's more of them this time.
Actually, I tell you what, that's something I didn't mind. A giant octopus shows up.
Yeah.
That bit
I
was
thought. So you really don't think this film has sense of humor to what it's doing? You don't think it?
There are definitely bits where it was like they're trying to make jokes, but they're not good.
But you don't think they're aware of like how silly this is? And I think they're trying to play it straight.
Yeah, no, I think they absolutely are.
Yeah, I didn't get. That's not the impression I took from it, and I was able to do sort of like go with it as like a silly monster film. I didn't. And I didn't think like, oh, this was trying to be anything more than it is. I think that this is a film that knows what it is. I think this film is very much just sort of a vehicle of like, how do we get these characters into, precarious situation? Like it's just sort of like set up for like, oh, here comes a megalodon attack, and I think that's fine. I don't think it needs
that's not
to
true
be.
of every film. If you don't get your characters into trouble, then you got no story.
And I'm aware that it's not the highest form of cinema per se, but it just is sort of. It didn't bother me. I was able to sort of go with it, even if I know like it's not that great, if there's not that much story in it.
Oh, actually, no.
I
I'll tell you
don't
what the high caliber humor in this film is. There's a bit where like they blow up a shed or something towards the end, and one character looks back at the explosion and goes, "Damn."
But I don't think this film really needs to have particularly great characters to be engaging. Like I don't. Again, this is the same with the sort of
It'd be nice, though,
Godzilla.
wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, it would be nice, but I don't need it. It's the same with Godzilla. Like the characters are like people are
Yeah,
like, oh,
a
characters are
shit film.
terrible. I'm like, no. I don't. I mean, if you're going to to this kind of film for the characters, I don't know. Maybe you're not.
I'm not going
Like,
there for the characters. I just like there to be someone that okay, there's that person that I enjoy seeing on screen.
I thought it was fine. I didn't. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but I thought it was fine for what it was and for what it was trying to be.
It's not like I'm going to give it like two. It's not like I'm going to give it like 2 out of 10, but I'm going to give it a 5. But it didn't anger me, but I did. Yeah, I did not like it. Actually, just a random little thing that I remember at the start. You know when he's on that boat and he gets out the shipping container, like he cuts a little hole in it.
Mm-hmm.
And like the camera moves out and he's like on the top of this pile of shipping containers. How the fuck did he get down? He just kind of Jason Stathamed his way through it.
Yeah, Jason Statham is capable of. I give it a very weak.
No, tell you what he did. I would have loved to see them do for real. In that opening sequence when he like dives off the ship. They should have actually gotten Jason Statham to dive off a ship because he used to be an Olympic diver.
He was, yeah. I give it a very weak 6. Like, okay. It's fine. Harry's gonna counter that and is incredibly negative, so I'll just read that for you. The Meg 2. Lol, what? They made a second Meg film. Nah, really though, it's shit. Would be a good film to watch drunk and laugh at, but seriously, this film was released in theaters. Like, this is a direct to Amazon Prime type of film. Didn't need to be made. Jason Statham versus a big shark sounds like an SNL bit. And this is the sequel. 3 out of 10. who watches this shit. Harry was far more.
It's a good film to get drunk and like. I think this would be a good film to get drunk and then kill yourself after.
Sorry, what? Get drunk and you
And
cut
then
out
kill
that
yourself.
second. Well, that's a bit of an overreaction to a shark film. It did an episode tying into the release of Dumb Money, which I unfortunately was not able to see in time for this. But Harry did, so he can make up for that. But I talked about The Big Short to this, and I know you're a big fan of The Big Short.
Damn, I love The Big Short.
I mean, it's a great film, to be fair. It's the best thing Adam McKay's done.
Did you do The Big Short to tie in just because they're both about stocks?
Yeah. Yeah, I think... Actually, no. Adam McKay was involved in Succession, and that's better than The Big Short, but you've not seen it. No, you're the cool people who hasn't seen it, because it's like, it was the biggest show in the world.
Well, I'm one of those alternative cool guys. You know me?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it until after it had all finished.
On a toothpick, snapping my fingers to the tune of the beat. I'm a cool, hip happening cat.
So Harry has seen Dumb Money.
Incredibly clued up.
So here is his review of Dumb Money. This film surprised me. It was actually a pretty fun watch, and it's cool to see a film made about something I actually remember happening compared to The Big Short. That's fair, because I had no idea what the fucking stock market, the housing
crisis. Yeah, I mean, we'd be like, what, 4 or 5 at that point?
I would have been 4 or 5 years old. Yeah, not that old. Okay. But I remember the GameStop thing. I remember, like, I had a friend who literally wanted to invest in it, but he wasn't old enough. And by the time he was old enough, it wasn't worth it anymore. This film feels within that style and will always be compared to The Big Short, although this just doesn't have that cast, nor is it as historically important. Not to say this cast isn't great. Pete Davidson, Seth Rogen, and Nick Offerman are good in the film. It's a fun watch if you have the time and are looking for something light and easy. 6.5 out of 10. Moving on. Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, fuck. Can Scorsese make a film under 2 hours again? I miss when he did that.
That won't be cinema.
Because fucking, if this is cinema, I don't think I want to watch movies anymore. I think I'm done. I think I'm tapped out. I'm done with movies. So yes, I saw Killers of the Flower Moon.
That's the last episode about movies with William Fletcher.
Yeah, it's the end. We're done. I'm sorry. Scorsese has... I was going to say killed my love of cinema. That's a bit harsh. But if this is what cinema is to Scorsese, then...
You better die soon.
I think this is... I think I'm done. So yeah, I saw this in the cinema. I went with a friend. Saw it in VMAX, which is like... And, you know, it was good. And that's it. You know, like, it's Scorsese. You can't go too wrong with Marty Scorsese. It's 3.5 hours fucking long. So I've sat in a cinema for 4 hours because of how long the ads are. And I was engaged for a lot of it, but I was also just like, I don't need all of this. Like, this could... And I checked, and I pulled out my phone every now and again because I'm like, oh, fuck, there's still another 2 hours left. Shit. You know, because I'm like, oh, nothing's happening. It's too long. It's too long. Like,
I think we're both in
agreement. Yeah, so, no, look, the good things, though, DiCaprio, you can never go too wrong with Leo. Like, he's always good to great, at least, you know, I don't see why De Niro, again, De Niro's great, always a dependable actor, especially in Scorsese. You can never go too wrong with De Niro. Lily Gladstone was getting a lot of hype around this film when it initially premiered at Cannes, and what is she doing in this film that's so stand out to so many people? Because I don't.
She was very good. I think she was, you know, amazing. She was very good though.
Also, she has been submitted as lead actress for the Oscars.
No,
categorically. She is not. She has literally an hour's less of screen time compared to Leo's in the film for like nearly 2 hours or something. She's in it for 54 minutes. 54 minutes.
This is the issue with supporting actress. They just chuck a bunch of them in lead.
Yeah, it's like Michelle Williams last year in The Fabelmans. Like, she's
Mm.
obviously the fucking, like, supporting, because, but no, God forbid, we don't, arbitrarily just chuck a woman into, like, I don't understand this. I hate this whole arbitrary, like, code lead thing. And I've talked to many people, and I've asked lots of people, like, why they think Lily Gladstone is lead, and they're like, oh, well, because the film is about her, and it's about her emotional thing. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I
She's
don't think
like
that's
sick
necessarily.
and in bed for like half the film.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, first of all, Leo is the protagonist. Like, look, if we were following Lily Gladstone's character, if she was the main character, then I would totally get it. And if the film was following her and Leo was like sort of secondary, then I'd be like, put Leo in supporting actor because he is supporting. Okay. But she categorically isn't. She's in the film an hour less than Leo. If they had like equal amounts of screen time, then I could be like, okay, fine, I guess, even though I still would say she's supporting. But she's literally not a lead. Like, she's not a lead. It's insane. It's I just don't even like it's not. But yeah, Scorsese, as per usual, has a cameo in this film, and I did like the ending. I remember beforehand I had seen something where people were like, oh, the ending's gonna be a bit divisive, and I watched them like, huh. Well, I don't mind that actually. I thought that was okay. I didn't think the end liked it.
I mean, I don't know what it adds, but yeah.
I mean, you don't need it. Like, it's not necessary, but I like it. It doesn't. There's no setup to it. That's part of the problem too. Is it just kind of comes from nowhere, and it just sort of, and it doesn't. I feel like that kind of reveal, because there's no setup to it, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just so used to twist endings, the twist reveals, but I feel like it's meant to recontextualize the film, and it doesn't really. It's just sort of like, oh, this
Yeah,
is sort of, it's never established as the framing device. I think that's part of the problem. Is they never established that's the framing device.
well, 'cause
Because
it's
also,
not even really a framing device. That implies that
well,
the
that's
framing
the
device is
problem
obviously
too.
how the story happens.
Well, that's the problem. I feel like it's that reveal is going to be like, oh, and this is like how the story was being told. I'm like, but this doesn't. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't add anything. Like, if that was sort of the beginning of the film, like these people, and they were like telling this story, I'm like, okay, that would work. That would make sense. But the way it's, yeah, framed, I'm like, I don't think it really does. It's, and I think
I mean, I
it's,
hadn't even thought of it as kind of a, ooh, here's the thing. It was just kind of there, and I was like, okay, I'm still going, right?
yeah, I
Literally,
mean,
until you brought it up, I didn't even register it as being like just a thing. I thought it was just there.
I don't, yeah, it's very weird, and I just don't. This film, like, look, I love Scorsese, but can he just, like, I want him to make another great film, and I feel like when he, like, and look, I understand, like, this is a film that might appeal more and sort of mean more to people who are, like, Native American, and they're from, they're part of the Osage people or anything, but it just doesn't feel like, I don't know. I just kind of wish, like, I know Scorsese's getting old, and I know like he's not got many films left in him, and I do just kind of wish that he was making better films. Like, I don't.
I mean, yeah, this and The Irishman, I'm like, yeah, not really in
Yeah, it's like,
his
yeah. I mean, people love this film. It's. Let me look where it is. Sorry, on it. It was on Letterboxd top 250. I don't think it's there anymore now because too bad it's not that good. But like people love it. It did it. It's, and it's going to, at some point it's going to Apple TV Plus. I don't know when. But yeah, just the 3.5 hour runtime. It's just not. It's not needed. Like, it really could just be trimmed down quite considerably.
even if they just took like 1 hour off, I'd be.
Yeah. Oh, also, I just remembered Brendan Fraser. Fuck me, was he
Oh
awful in
God,
this?
he
He was
opened
a
his mouth.
real bad.
I was laughing my head off.
I was like, okay, this is, yeah, no, he's not good, is he? And look, I thought he was good in The Whale, but like, come on, he was not the best part of that film. Like, could have given it to literally, you could have given it to Farrell.
Anyone else in that category apart from Elvis, man?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is what people mean when they say he's not a good actor. And I'm like, too far. I've never like. I think a lot of people just have nostalgia goggles for Brendan Fraser, and they equate that to thinking he's a good actor. And Jesse Plemons, I love Jesse Plemons, but he wasn't in it that much, and I wish he was. Originally,
Yeah.
from what I read, Jesse Plemons was the Leonardo DiCaprio character, and then I think Leo was going to play the Jesse Plemons character, and then Leo negotiated with Scorsese to like rewrite the film so Leo was the main character and a different character. So he kind of just fucked Jesse Plemons out of a lead.
What a sneaky beak!
I think originally they like the detective. I think was originally like the protagonist. Like Jesse Plemons' character was the main character. I think
It would be interesting to see it from the point of view of the detective. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Scorsese mentioned that they consulted with like Osage people for the film, like in terms of the writing and everything. I'm like, okay, I like that, I respect that, but it doesn't necessarily mean I have to like the film because of like, or think the film's great because of that, you know. But yeah, it was like I give it a 7. I think it's fine. It's all...
And you know that one photo that was going around for ages of Leo DiCaprio and Lily Gladstone. That was like the only picture of this film.
Oh yeah, where they're sitting at the table together.
At the
Yeah,
table. Yeah, when that scene happened, I was like, there it is.
yeah,
Insert
I was
Leonardo
I was
DiCaprio.
like, I wonder how deep into the
There it
film
is.
that's. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's right. I remember because this film, I thought this film was coming out last year. We are recording this in 2023, might in like just at the end of 2023. So when I say last year, I mean 2022. I thought this film was like coming out in 2022, and then it didn't. I'm like, man, how long have they been sitting on this film? Because it's been, but it took them like 9 months to shoot, and Robert De Niro got injured during production, so they had to halt it presumably for a bit. But yeah, Harry, not many thoughts, which is surprising that he's got so few thoughts. But also maybe it's just because the film doesn't have as much substance as it thinks it does. Shots fired. To be fair, it doesn't need to be 3.5 hours long. You could trim it down to 2 hours, and even then, I think that's being generous. Killers of the Flower Moon. No, I'm tired. This is too long. The pacing's god awful. It felt like purgatory. The performances are good. What do you expect from this cast? I just think that you boys have talked at length about it. I'll keep this short. It's a great film, don't get me wrong, but I'm tired. 6.5 out of 10. So okay, quite positive, but also, I mean, describing something as saying you're in purgatory.
That might be my favorite thing ever.
That's pretty good. I mean, to be fair, that is really how that's how I was during Beau is Afraid, to be honest. I was like, oh, this is just this is a new form of torture. This is literal hell.
Yeah.
No, I bet hell would be nicer than this. Because if it's like Devil Flanders, then I think we'd probably get along all right.
Yeah, pretty right.
Simpsons reference. But yeah, moving on to the Marvels. I was unable to see this actually, but everything I've heard is that it's I did so well last week. I saw everything minus Poker Face, which is a TV show, but that's not really the same thing. But it's just like the Marvel, just like everyone said it was shit, and I was like, huh, cool. And it's not on Disney Plus yet. And I tried looking online, and I thought I found it, but it was like a cam rip, and I'm like, I don't want to watch a cam rip of a movie, to be honest. And you said to me, I asked you, and you're like, yeah, I don't think it's showing in cinemas near me. I'm like, well, fucking hell.
Not all cinemas, just the one nearest me.
And I think Marvel's trying to bury this. This film has done appallingly bad at the box office. Like, it did not.
Let's have a look. Where is it showing? Oh, hang on. Has it just vanished? Yeah, I think it's got show times. Over the next 3 days, there are a total of 3 showings.
Oh boy, that is, and this is a Marvel film. Like, Marvel
came out about a month ago.
A little, like a month and a half ago, nearly, and it is like getting ready to stop playing its cinemas. Like, that is damning for a Marvel film. Films that like stay in Marvel. Like, I mean, I think Marvel's kind of done. I think Marvel's really. I'm just looking up on IMDb. and I'm clicking on the Marvels, there are no showtimes that are showing up like whatsoever. Like if I was like, let me choose a different theater, it's literally not showing. Like I think they've taken it at like that is bad for Marvel, dude.
Yeah,
Like
that's
Marvel,
yikes.
look, I'm a big Marvel fan, and I'm an apologist for a decent percentage. Like I liked the most recent Ant-Man. Sue me, I thought it was okay.
It was fine.
I thought Thor 4 was good. I thought Wakanda Forever was good. I thought Doctor Strange 2 was good. But just an oversaturation, man. It's just too much. And
Pack it
fucking
in.
James Gunn is gonna start his DC thing, and I'm like, oh fucking hell, we've got more now. Yeah, Harry has seen it though. Harry has seen the Marvels, so we do have some thoughts that I can give. Not my own, but Harry has seen it. The Marvels. Wowza. Another film from Marvel and another film that feels completely disconnected from what Marvel should be doing. Anyone else feel like we're just waiting for Deadpool or Fantastic Four? I loved Marvel's newer stuff. I was a fan for the early phase 4 shenanigans, but lately Ant-Man and the Marvel and even the Eternals are just boring. These aren't your stronger IPs, Marvel. They can't sustain themselves without the wider universe. Loki season 2 was great, by the way. It had me rock hard the whole time. But this, it's tired, it's filler, and I'm waiting for something better. I like Miss Marvel as a show, though. I thought it was quite good, but this felt missed. 5 out of 10. So Harry hasn't seen The Killer, so that's fine. But I've seen The Killer, and look, I think some people are being a little bit unfair to this film. Is it one of Finch's best? No. But is it good? Yes. Like this is
Yeah.
this isn't the best David Fincher film, but I mean fucking hell. Some people are calling this the worst Fincher film, and I'm like, it just isn't. Like Alien
No,
Cubed is much worse. Panic Room is worse.
I think I might prefer
Mank
Panic
is
Room.
worse. Mank is worse. Benjamin Button is worse.
No, it's not. Come on.
Benjamin Button, yeah. Like Benjamin Button's
Benjamin Button.
fine. I mean,
I really
I
like
wasn't a big Girl with the Dragon Tattoo fan, but I know a lot of people do love that film. To be fair, but I just didn't love it really. But The Killer, yeah. So I really like that. I'm a big David Fincher fan, as I covered on the show. I think he makes pretty good films. I think he just is. He's great. I love David Fincher. And so maybe I'm biased because I'm like, well, it's David Fincher, but I think this is like quite good for what it is.
Yeah, no, I enjoy this one quite a bit. It's quite a
Uh,
it's a bit of a slow burn, but I was happy to sit
yeah.
through it all. And it's not that
It's a
long.
bit of a slow burn, and to be honest, I do think. See, this is the thing where I sort of felt like people were saying this is like sort of a comedy. I was like, I don't think I would say it's a comedy. I think some of what it's doing, there's sort of a bit of like
So yeah, I've
dry
heard you
sense
say
of.
that it's got a sense of humor, but I mean, I don't think I really agree with that. But
I don't think all of it does. I just think there's a bit that is, but I don't like. I know some people who describe this as like a comedy, and I'm like, the fuck film did you watch? Like, it's not a. I think I don't think it's all meant to be that, and I think I think it's
there
good. I
is
think it's
one bit that I kind of went at. But even then, I
which
don't think it's
bit.
meant to be funny. At the very start when he accidentally shoots that
Well, see,
prostitute.
I think that bit. I think that you could read that a couple different ways, and to be fair, I'm not entirely sure which way it's meant be. If it's like just that's meant to be like, because I think the narration is sort of meant to be a piss take. Like I don't think it's meant to be taken. That I think it's sort of a, but I don't think it's. Yeah, I know some would say it's like a comedy. I'm like, I don't think that's true. I think that's a bit.
No, it's not. Come on.
But I think some people would. And I don't want to sound like I know things better than other people, but I just wonder like, how many
You've killed
people
a lot
like
of people.
get this fit? Like, I think there are some films where I watch them. Like, do people just not get that? Like, I don't want to sound like I understand films. I'm the authority on what a film is meant to be, but I do wonder like, do people just not get it?
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I think some people just sort of. I think this film isn't. I think some people think this film like thinks it's cooler than it is, and I don't think it does. I think this film's sort of like
No, yeah, I wouldn't say that either.
I don't think it is. I think the film's aware of what it's doing. I think this film is sort of a subversion of the sort of like assassin film type of
Yeah, because it's a very mundane, I guess.
yeah.
See him just
And I
doing a
think
lot
some
of really.
people don't, and I think some people think I don't know. I don't know if some people think it is. I don't know. I like I, 'cause I yeah. I think some people sort of think it's trying to play itself like I think the film's aware of what it's doing, and I think some people don't think that it is. So yeah, Michael Fassbender. It is kind of hard to enjoy him as an actor because of like it. Like he's. I think he's a very good actor, but yeah, he's and this isn't his best work as an actor per se, but I
No,
think
he doesn't. It's not. He's not particularly outstanding in it.
no. But to be fair, I don't think he's asked to do that much with it. To be honest, I think that's
And then
the
the
thing. I think
character's
he's sort of
quite nothingy, really.
yeah, and I think that's on purpose. I know a lot of people have been raving about Tilda Swinton, and I didn't really think she was that great, to be
I
honest.
quite liked
I thought she
it.
was
I enjoyed.
okay, but I just wasn't blown away by her in a way a lot of other people seem to be. Okay, what did you think of there's like towards the sort of latter stage of the film, there's this big fight scene that Fassbender has with this. I
Mhm.
thought that was great. I thought that was really good. Probably the best scene of the film, to be honest. I think it like
No, it was good, solid. Didn't mind it. I think my favorite bit of the film is with Tilda Swinton, where they're just talking about stuff.
I did like the restaurant scene. I just didn't think Tilda Swinton was that amazing in it. I definitely think though, because when I did my Fincher one of my Fincher episodes, I was talking about how I think Fincher's chances at an Oscar are kind of done. I think he's kind of if he's not going to win ever, and that's sad because I think he is fully deserving of a win. I just don't see him winning one. I think he's sort of a bit past his like if he couldn't win for The Social Network, like. But yeah, I give The Killer an 8. I think it's a very very good film. Also, The Smiths. I should add actually quickly the
Yeah.
fucking Smiths played and I played. It's a shame Harry hasn't seen this one because he'd be fucking going on about it. I also thought the sound. I actually thought the sound design was excellent. I really loved the way sound was implemented into the film.
I go a 7.5 out of 10.
So yeah, Harry did write something about The Killer despite not having seen it. He said,
Oh.
wasn't able to catch this one as it has been a very busy year, but I'm sure you guys did a good job, and I agree with everything you said. Probably, I don't know, question mark out of 10.
We can make Harry sound like a real scumbag here by saying something terrible, and he'd have to agree with it.
Michael Fassbender is innocent, and he did nothing wrong.
Oh, actually, no. Hang on. We'd have to say that Harry thinks something rather than us saying.
That's the last message I got from Harry. That Michael Fassbender did nothing wrong, and he's a good person who never
Harry
did anything.
likes to watch dogs having sex, and he agrees.
He likes to stamp on mice.
So it's not liable because he agrees.
Yeah, he agreed, so it's fine.
Not slander.
Yeah, libelous is written, isn't it?
I might be.
Is it? I always forget which is which.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I'm trying to remember that Jameson.
Whatever we're saying, it's fine because Harry said he agrees.
It's fine because Harry said he agrees with us. Yes. Then we move on to Saltburn. Now I'm just going to quickly read Harry's thing because he hasn't seen this one either. I'm sorry, wasn't able to catch this either. Am keen to watch it though, as the cast seems intriguing and the reviews seem varying. So, Saltburn. I saw this back in October. So that was 2 months ago that I saw this film. And I was planning to rewatch it. I didn't get a chance to, but I thought it was fucking great. I thought this was fucking excellent. I really was like, because I didn't know much about it going in, and I'd heard that the reviews were kind of a bit mixed, and then I watched it and was like, oh, are just people not capable of having fun? Like, this movie is fucking fun. Like, this is I thought it was great. I thought it was very, very great. And you watched this like a couple days ago. Like you saw this incredibly
Yeah,
recently.
I saw it Mia like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That's
Where do you
because
stand with Promising Young Woman, by the way? Because that's we talked about Promising Young Woman.
I love Promising Young Woman. I think it's great.
Yeah. Your
Yeah,
favorite
almost.
film of
Yeah,
2020?
yeah,
One of them
yeah.
at
It
least.
was.
I mean, 2020
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
a strong year, but Promising Young Woman's a great film. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I've talked to lots of people who don't. I this is such a I remember coming out of Saltburn and I'm like, this is gonna be such a divisive film with people. Like some people are gonna love it and think it's great, and some people are gonna be like, this is fucking shit. And I will say that has happened as I expected, but I think some people are a bit unfair about
like
that.
it's okay.
Is this film saying much? No. Does it have to be? No. People have been like, oh, it's just the talented Mr. Ripley, which I haven't seen. Talented Mr. Ripley doesn't have Barry Keoghan in it, and Barry Keoghan is fucking incredible in this film. I think he's the best performance of the year, just
Cool.
in anything. Like I really think I think Barry Keoghan is one of the best. Would I say he's up and coming? Because he's been Oscar nominated. I don't know like
Yeah,
how
he's pretty up.
he's pretty yeah, but like he's just like and he keeps doing great films. You know, Killing of a Sacred Deer I saw recently. I thought he was great in.
That's what
I
I need
thought
to
he was
see.
good. He's very good in it. He's fucking unnerving as fuck in that film. Yeah, Barry Keoghan, I think best performance of the entire year as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, I thought Little Baz. I thought he was great. This is. I really enjoyed him in Banshees, but this is the first one that I'm like, oh wow, that's a fucking good bit of acting, Barry.
Yeah, I mean this whole cast, maybe my favorite cast of the entire year. You got
Yeah, it might
Jacob
be for me. I
Elordi.
great cast. Yeah, Jacob
You got
Elordi. I think he was very good. I haven't seen
apparently
anything else. Apparently, he's in the kissing booth, which
yeah, and I remember he was asked about this recently, and he fucking shat all over them and said they were terrible. Pulling the old Robert Pattinson in Twilight thing, where it's like, yeah, I thought those movies were
yeah.
shit. He's trying to be
Well, I
like
thought
this,
he was
which you
great.
know, fair
He was
enough.
great in this. So
But also Rosamund Pike. I really like Rosamund Pike, just
Roz.
sort of in general. Richard E. Grant, I really like in this.
I
Carrie
love Richard E.
Mulligan.
Grant. I think he's wonderful.
Carrie Mulligan, I was disappointed how little Carrie Mulligan was in this because I think
Like,
she's great.
I only remember the one scene she's in it, and it's her first scene.
You know who I actually thought was really great? The two cast members that I actually really like. I really liked Alison Oliver.
Is that the sister?
Yeah, that's the sister in it. I thought she was very
And
good.
I really
Actually,
liked her. That scene when she's in the bath towards the end. I thought she was great in that bit.
yeah, and I also loved the guy who was like their butler, who's like just this really fucking stoic.
Duncan.
And then yeah, Dunk. And then there's just these bits where people are playing games, and he's just sort of in the background, just standing there, like arms at his sides, just fucking stone faced. I'm like, that's like, I thought this film was really funny. I thought like this film was.
We were complaining last week about Beau is Afraid just being weird for weird's sake. This is the sort of level where I think weird works.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
there's a lot
it's
of.
sort of where it's like, yeah, but this is easily something that somebody could do. You know,
Yeah,
watching
I
your
mean,
crush having a whack at the bath, and then you go and like sip his water from the bath.
yeah, eating out a girl while she's on her period, which is very but it does result in because I had seen that shot in like a trailer or something where he's like in a bath and he's got like red around his mouth. I'm like, how the fuck does that happen? And then he'd and I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, that's fit.
He's drinking the cum water.
Yeah, he's drinking the cum water. He's getting it's just he's fucking a grave.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for. I was like, oh.
It's just. Oh,
In fact, there was a bit where he's just kind of lying there on the grave, and I was like, oh, I need to go to the toilet. So I went off, went to the toilet. I came back, pressed play. I was like, oh, this shot's still going. Oh, he's taking his track. Oh, he's fucking the grave.
Yeah, and I was like, huh. I think, yeah. And I know a lot of people have been like, oh, this is so shocking and it's unnecessary. And I'm like, well, I don't. Like, this is a film about obsession. Like that's what this film is. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, this should be an eat the rich type thing," and I'm like,
Yeah, it's not 'cause
no.
it's not really condemning any of the rich people.
Yeah, and also a lot of the
I think
film,
it's about greed. I think that's what I kind of read it as.
and I think some people were expecting it to be like an eat the rich thing, and I'm just kind of like,
Mm.
kind of just be sort of a fun. I don't want to say the word thriller because I don't think that's a genre, but I think this is. I don't know what genre to put this in. Like this is
Yeah,
just.
it's kind of devoid of genre.
Yeah, I like that. I like when a film doesn't really have a genre and it's just like its own thing. Like I think that's cool. And I'm also kind of sick of the eat the rich thing. Like I'm kind of last year really burnt me out of that. You know, the Menu, Glass Onion, Triangle of
Mm.
Sadness, like
Yeah.
White Lotus. You know, all these things. I'm like, I'm kind of sick of that. I've kind of seen that all now. I don't know what else you could really say. And I just like that. But this is a film about obsession. You know, and I think that's. And I was fine with that. I was able to go with that, and I think a lot of people just weren't. Yeah, this film just fuck. It's great. I loved it. I was like, this is just great. You know, the cinematography as well. Actually, I think it was an incredibly well shot film. I think it's probably the best
Yeah,
cinematography of the
I
year.
this film does something that I kind of get annoyed at, and that's the arbitrary use of a 3:4 aspect ratio, but it's
Yeah,
well shot,
Emerald
yeah.
Fennell has talk about this, and I think her justification was something to the effect of it's sort of like peeking in, like what sort of it's like the audience is sort of peeking in on this thing. And I'm like, okay, I
I don't
get
think that.
that.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
didn't
don't
think
think.
that at the time. I was just like, oh, it's shot in that aspect ratio. But yeah, the it's probably my favorite script of the year. I think.
Yeah, I think
Although I will admit the ending is a bit far fetched. I will say, because I was watching
I
the
don't think it's
film
far fetched.
and sort
I
of
just think that they're. Yeah, it's not far fetched, but it is kind of like, ooh, the logic police in my brain are going like, hang on,
yeah,
how?
because I was watching this and Felix that's Jacob Elordi's character. He dies, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I just sort of took from this, oh, Oliver has poisoned him, and I'm like, cool, all right. And then sort of as it sort of goes on, and he's like fucking the grave, I'm like, oh, did he not do it? And then it sort of goes on, and then at a certain point, I'm like, oh no, he definitely did all that. He because and then we're shown all of it, of course. And I think the final scene where Barry Keoghan is just dancing through the house, I'm like, oh, like that's a really great final scene. I felt.
Yeah, and we get that kind of like a little puppet theater little thing with like 4 marionette things on strings. That's a nice little
Yeah, I like
visual
that.
of where he's kind of used the family.
Yeah, I thought the film also the curated soundtrack, as was the case with Promising Young Woman, the curated soundtrack for Saltburn I thought was really great. Emerald Fennell was clearly very good at curating a soundtrack for a film.
Yeah, no, I really like the soundtrack.
And again, that final song that plays the end, you know, the final song that played at the end of Promising Young Woman, I thought worked very
Murder on the
well.
Dance.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
But it wasn't quite. Yeah, it didn't quite resonate the same as Angel of the Morning. But
No, but also
I thought it
it's
was.
a very different context. Like the songs are very
Oh,
different.
yeah,
The context in which they're being used is very different. But I think, yeah, I think Emerald Fennell just is very good at curating a soundtrack. And I think, and I don't know if I said this on podcast, but I've said this before. I was like, because Promising Young Woman I thought was so good that like she sort of bought 10 years of goodwill from me of like I'll give her of like if a director makes a film that's great, then that usually gives them a few years where I'm like, oh, I'll give them that they made one, I'll give them a chance.
I'll
Ari
allow it.
Aster was the same. Ari Aster
He
was the
squandered that, didn't
same. He's kind of bollocked it, but I'm still holding out hope. Hopefully, Birds of Prey was just like a bit of a slight roadblock. But like Robert Eggers, for example, if Robert Eggers Nosferatu is bad, I think I'm done with Eggers. I think I'm just like, yeah, I think,
I
yeah,
don't think I was ever really that on board with him.
Yeah, Saltburn. It's a great film. I really really loved it, and I've talked, as I mentioned before, I've talked to a lot of people who are hit or miss. One person I talked to, she was basically like, she thought it was really fun, was really engaging, but it didn't leave her with much to take from it. In the sense of like, the film's not saying that much, or there's not much to it, and it's sort of like, and I'm like, I think I get that, but I don't necessarily need that. I'm kind of glad. I'm fine with this film just sort of being a fun romp about this guy who takes over a family and kills people and kills them. Like, I think that's fine. I think that works.
Yeah, no, I'm fully on board with it.
And I give it a very strong 9 out of 10. I think it's great. I loved it.
Yeah, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. It's by far my favorite film of the year.
So following on from that, Wish. I haven't seen Wish, but everything I've heard is told me it's dog shit. Harry has seen it though. Ew, the animation looks fucking terrible. It's like they're trying to do 2D animation, but like with computers. Like, it just doesn't look right. It looks awful. I just, it's like Disney spent 100 years of Disney, right? Like Disney has been doing this shit for 100 years, making some of the most beautiful animation ever, and Wish just looks fucking dog shit. But Harry has seen Wish, so if you don't mind letting me read through this. Wish. Lol. Fuck this film. Disney sucks now. DreamWorks for life. Seriously though, Disney has really lost what makes it special. For the last 75 years, they have pioneered storytelling, but lately that's a big old yikes from me. It's uninspired. Anytime there seems like a great musical number is about to play, it ends up being safe, generic, and lame. Storytelling is flat, and the art style, while cool, I disagree with that. I don't think it looks cool. I think it looks shit.
Yeah, it looks vile.
Doesn't seem to really enhance the film or storytelling like Puss in Boots or Spider-Man, for example. It feels like an out-of-touch company latching themselves onto a trend. I guess some kids may like the colors, but it lacks purpose and message. 4 out of 10. Move on. We're nearly at the end. Move on to Poor Things, which you haven't seen, but I have. I saw it at a film festival. I thought it was very good. I talked about it a lot, actually, on this podcast already when I covered Yorgos Lanthimos. Do you know anything about this film?
No.
Cool. Well, it's very good. It's probably the best Emma Stone performance. Probably the best Mark Ruffalo performance. Willem Dafoe is very good, because Willem Dafoe is hard to go wrong with Willem Dafoe. It'll be up at the Oscars most likely, so we'll talk about it then, but I loved it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was fantastic. But yeah, it's I think there's just a lot of greatness in it, but I don't really want to talk about it too much because you haven't seen it and I've talked about it before.
Yeah.
And we move on to the final film we'll be talking about, Chicken Run: Dawn of the Nugget. I haven't seen this film. Because I thought the first one was shit. And I know, fuck. And I know you're a big fan. So do you want to just quickly run through your thoughts on Chicken Run? And the second, because you've seen the second one. So if you want to...
Yeah, I have. Chicken Run was a childhood favourite of mine, and I haven't seen it in years.
Well, I feel like that expands. I think this is a film that I think some
people... I rewatched it the other day before the new one, so I've kind of seen it for the first time with, eyes. I haven't seen it in about 10 years. Yeah, no, I really like it. I mean, maybe some of my fondness for it is that I love The Great Escape, and this is just kind of like The Great Escape with chickens. If you don't like the first one, you aren't going to like the second one, because as a fan of the first one, I found this second one pretty lackluster.
They replaced problematic Mel Gibson with problematic Zachary Levi.
I mean, they've replaced pretty much everyone apart from some of the other chickens. I think Jane Horrocks and stuff come back. I think Imelda Staunton comes back.
But I'm just looking at this. This is like stacked, because you got Zachary Levi, Bella Ramsey, Imelda Staunton, David Bradley, Ramesh Ranganathan, Peter Serafinowicz, Nick Mohammed.
Yes, Ramesh Ranganathan.
Which feels weird. I like Ramesh, but that feels like a very odd, just like addition that they're like, oh, let's chuck him in there.
And he's opposite Daniel Mays. They're voicing those two rats, so they're just kind of little. I'm not that blown away by any the voice acting really. I'm not even that way in the first one. Apart from maybe bits of Miranda Richardson. Yeah, no, I found this new one. To me it felt like it was going too big. Yeah, the end of the first one's pretty big when they build like a giant wooden like bird thing. You know, I can go with that. It still feels quite small. Whereas this one, it's a bit too much.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's not really anything. It was easy to watch, but yeah, it was pretty nothingy. It's probably a bit generous, but I give it like a weak 6.5. But yeah, probably.
Harry has seen this one as well, and he's sent through his feelings. Honestly, a great heartfelt sequel that I love. Fucking
Okay.
hell. Here we
Wow.
go. Classic Aardman visuals comedy, as well as some great storytelling. It's beautiful and you can see the care. Didn't feel like a cheap sequel and a great progression from the first film. We got to see some characters change with the introduction of a child, and it's great to see how priorities shift throughout the narrative. I loved it and think after 20 plus years, it's a more than deserving sequel, 8 out of 10. Well, I need to
Wow.
watch it now so I can bump that rating down a bit. Thank you. Oh, that's 2023 wrapped up.
We did it,
I mean, this episode
everyone.
is going
Yay.
out in 2024. We're recording this in 2023. So yeah, but 2023 done and dusted. On to year 4 of this fucking podcast. Before we wrap up, I want to quickly run through a couple of things. First of all, I've got here my top 10 films of 2023, and I'm going to quickly rattle those off. Number 10, May December. Great film. It's on Netflix. It's I saw this. It's probably Natalie Portman is great. Julianne Moore, very good. Charles Melton's in it. I don't know if you know who Charles Melton is, but he's been getting a lot of hype for the performance, and I think he's good. And it's also Todd Haynes, who I'm not familiar with, but I really liked May December.
Oh,
9 is
he's
Barbie.
in Riverdale.
Have
Charles?
you seen Riverdale?
No, of course not.
So yeah, number 9, Barbie. Already we talked about Barbie. Think it's great. Number 8, Dream Scenario. Nicholas freaking Cage. I thought it was great. It doesn't quite come together with its concept. Like it's one of those films where it's got a great concept, but it sort of runs out of steam by the end. If you know, but still think it's very good, and it's one of Nicolas Cage's best. No, I don't want to say better. It's one of the best Nick Cage performances. Honestly, I think he's fantastic in it. Evil Dead Rise. We already talked about that. Love it. Love Evil Dead. All of Us Strangers. The only time I've ever seen Andrew Scott in something and he's actually good, because he's not doing the fucking.
I don't think he's a brilliant actor, but I think he's good and stuff.
Yeah. I actually liked him in 1917. I thought he was alright in 1917, but he's not in
minutes
that
he's
much.
there. He's playing this jaded captain. He's basically playing Edmund
I thought
Blackman.
All of Us Strangers, great. It made me cry. There's a great scene towards the end that I think is really great, and then the ending kind of fucks it all up. So the ending kind of ruins the film. Number 5, The Killer. I liked it. I really liked it. Number 4, Oppenheimer. Again, really liked it. Poor Things. Loved it. Saltburn. Loved it. Talked about these. Number 1, The Zone of Interest. But honestly, it's been a bit of a weak year in films, just in general, to be honest. It's not been that. Like, number 11, Anatomy of a Fall, I think is very good. Number 12, Blackberry, I really loved. And then after that, it's kind of a bit like...
What was number 12, sorry?
Blackberry?
Blackberry, right. I thought you said Black Mirror, and I was like, what?
No, but yeah, 13 is Wonka. I thought Wonka was alright. And then, Strays. Strays is far better than people give it credit for. Strays was actually pretty solid for it.
Strays is in my top 5. Which...
but then, yeah,
there's a lot about
Mission
the amount
Impossible.
of films.
But then, yeah, New Mission Impossible wasn't that great. Killers of the Flower Moon wasn't that good. Thanksgiving was fine. Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I really like Mission
Knock at
Impossible.
the Cabin was fine. Holdovers was fine. New Ninja Turtles was fine. Scream 6 was fine. But yeah, it's my top 10 looks good. It's just everything outside of the top 10 is a bit shockingly mediocre. It's like it's not a great year. But we're probably not going to be talking about any 2023 releases until the Oscars in a couple months.
Boy.
and the Oscars aren't looking that great. But this upcoming year of film, to be honest, I don't know. Of course, I don't know how much you keep up with like new releases. But a lot
Not
of the
really.
stuff I'm looking forward to is like, if I was to pick like the 5 that I'm most looking forward to in no particular order, I'm being optimistic about the Community movie coming out this year because
I'm
I reckon they
cautiously
could.
optimistic.
I'm caught. I would like them. I think the plan is to get it out like end of 2024, beginning of 2025. Mean Girls musical. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have much nostalgia for the original film, and I mean, we might be talking about that soonish. But yeah, it's a musical of Mean Girls. Like, and the original musical's very good. The soundtrack's great. Alien Romulus, new Alien film by Fede Alvarez.
Ooh,
It should be great. Hopefully,
I
because
need to
Fede
catch up
Alvarez
on
is
that.
very good. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I'm cautiously optimistic about, but the guy who made the Maze Runner films, 2023, that's a wrap up in 2023. I hope you will enjoy it,
What
and I hope
fun
you
we've
will
had.
continue to join me over the next year, at least one more year, or
Ooh,
maybe
that's
I'll
an
just go to
ominous.
episode 200 and then I'll just give up and be like, all right, I've done 200 episodes. I
Inspiring.
think I'm done now. Yeah, but thank you all for listening to this week's episode. Go back, listen to there's like 130 something episodes. So go listen to this.
Aren't
This
you all
fucking
lucky people? Look at all that fun you can have.
all that great content. Barney's on like a fucking shit ton of them. Thank you all for listening to this week's episode. Still relatively long, even with the two of us, but you know that's what happens. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.
Oh, bye, guys.